Hey guys, Weiss here. Welcome to another video. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'm at LoneStar Antiques in Haltom City, which is a suburb of Fort Worth, Texas. Let's go inside and check out my antique mall booth. I've got video games, action figures, records, trading cards, tons of comic books, old paperback books, all kinds of cool stuff. We're gonna go inside and check out all the cool items. Plus, at the end of the video, we will look for more retro games in the antique mall because after all, this is a retro gaming channel. So let's go check out my antique mall booth. Let's go inside, shall we? All right, let's go inside and make a beeline to my booth, which has, like I said, all kinds of cool stuff. So as you walk inside, check out this horse that greets you. We're in Texas after all. Hello. And the awesome people that work here. Hello. Very cool. Hey, one of my favorite vendors. Got all kind of cool records. Maybe we'll take a look at his booth as well. Yeah, let's walk around. If you turn left as you enter, go to the second right here. And yeah, check out all these records, guitars, you name it. And there's, for an antique mall, there is a ton of pop culture stuff in this mall. And look ahead, we are approaching my booth right here on the left. We will get to the items in the showcase in just a little bit, but first we'll start off over here on the wall. Hundreds of comic books in the filing cabinet. That's another thing I'll show you here in just a minute. We've got racing action figures, Star Wars figures, even Next Generation. Check out the Borg. I am looking at this Borg. Who remembers the awesome Borg episodes of the Next Generation? Got lots of Hot Wheels and toy cars from assorted brands. Episode 1. These aren't the most valuable Star Wars figures in the world, but people still collect them, and hey, they're cheap. It's a fun thing to collect. Check out this Waluigi amiibo. Goes for a little bit in the collector's market there, as you can see. Even got a Tomb Raider Jeep and motorcycle. That's cool. And Tweety Bird. I love the new Superpowers line. It's so cool that they brought it back. Even got some wrestling action figures. A lot of gamers are into wrestling. And I was very excited last year when the Texas Rangers won the World Series after me going to games for 50 years. Creature from the Black Lagoon, one of my favorite movies of the 50s. Check out these vintage Mavericks window clings. That's old school. And it is Christmas time, so I've got a Barbie here and some old Disney comics there. And check this out, guys. This is really fascinating. Check out these old, super vintage political bumper stickers. Reagan for the Shah of Iran, one presumes. Live with Jesus without nuclear weapons. Really fascinating stuff. LBJ USA. How many of you remember or know about the old anti-war protest? LBJ, how many kids have you killed today? Talking about the Vietnam War. Dukakis, that was a failed campaign. Interesting stuff here. Kennedy 80, that would have been Ted Kennedy. Yeah, I know a little bit more things about the world than just video games. No expert, but I try. Cool stuff there. And I got some bags of cars for cheap to collect or play with, as you see fit. And under here, I've got a whole box of magazines, as you can see by that incredibly cool font. Just a wide variety of things. Check out this Rosetta publication here. That is gorgeous. But yeah, I got Doctor Who. And I will put all the information. Oh, check it out, the Rocky Horror Picture Show of Rockets Blast Comic Collector, an old fanzine. How many of you remember RBCC? That's going to be an obscure reference for some of you, but others, hardcore comic book fans, you will remember that with quite fondness. Who remembers the movie Meteor? It got its own magazine. That was back in the day when so many movies got movie tie-in magazines, novels, and the like. These old serial pictorials are really neat. And National Lampoon, who remembers that crazy magazine? Pretty funny stuff. And I've got a whole box of Batman comics here, mostly newer ones. X-Men, how did that get in there? People are always, coming through and trashing the antique booth pretty good. So I have to sort of restock, and when I'm restocking, I have to straighten up quite a bit. Pretty cool vintage Simpsons puzzle, never been open. Love that. Ay caramba. Eat my shorts, you name it. Love the old Simpsons TV shows, the first few seasons especially. Check out this counting machine. That's a throwback. Next to the action figures here, I've got my sign, the Time Machine. It's the name of my antique mall booth within LoneStar Antiques. And I just found this cool GoBots lunchbox the other day. No thermos, but really neat. And for 15 bucks, quite a bargain. Got some more Barbies there. And this Doctor Who jewelry box is awesome. Found that at a garage sale, actually. Pretty awesome. Got a ton of vintage paperback books. Even some of this great Edgar Rice Burroughs stuff with the awesome cover art. Love that. And I got a ton of DVDs and Blu-rays, including The Flash, 5th season. This is about when I started checking out of The Flash. I love the first few seasons of The Flash TV show, but as it wore on, it focused less and less on Flash, and there became too many speedsters, and it just kind of lost me. Exorcist 2, The Heretic. You can watch Exorcist 1 and 3. Those are really good. Of course, the first one's incredible. The third one is a lot of fun. It includes Patrick Ewing as an angel. But Exorcist 2, I don't even remember that one. But I hear you can skip it. I've seen it, but it was a very long time ago. And check it out, a signed copy of Flash Gordon on DVD, signed by Sam Jones, Flash Gordon himself, when I met him at the Houston Arcade Expo. The Fog. This is a really cool movie. The original, love it. This is actually the remake, but I love the original version. Haven't even seen the remake. Again, more vintage paperback books, including some old sports. Check this out. That is awesome. So old school. Lots of science fiction here as well. How many of you remember Ron Goulart? Wow, what a prolific author. And check it out, guys, you gamers. Zork, number 4, Conquest at Quindor. These are pretty highly sought after, but 10 bucks for a copy that's, worn a little bit. Not bad, not bad. And some more comics down here. I'll show you some more comics here in a little bit. Next to that shelf, we've got a Mario lunchbox based on the Wii. And check this out, guys, very randomly, a sealed copy of Jeopardy Sports Edition for home computers. Pretty cool. Just leave that there for now. And I've got a bunch of graphic novels and some interesting old books here. Little Shop of Horrors, cool publication with Christopher Lee on the cover there. Tearing up my booth. I'm being like a customer, just running roughshod. All kinds of cool stuff there. Buffy, one of my favorite TV shows of all time. And I got some old oversized football cards. Those are cool. Joe Theismann. Remember the song, Joe Theismann? You did not win the Heisman, Joe Theismann. And got some golden books there. Those are super nostalgic for a lot of people. Man, they must have made thousands of those. They even made cool ones for like Black Hole and a bunch of other interesting properties. A lot of vintage stuff mixed in with more modern stuff in my antique booth. Joss Whedon. Didn't he get canceled? And check out this Planet of the Apes board game. This is really neat. Let me open this one up for you. The board is extremely cool. Check out Zira. One of my favorite characters. Maybe my favorite character in the whole series. And these nifty pieces. Really cool board game. I would get that just for the box if I didn't already own it. 25 bucks, not bad. And I've got the manger scene just in time for Christmas. And Nancy Drew. How many of you out there grew up reading Nancy Drew mystery novels? Let me know in the comments. And Welcome Back, Kotter. That's a silly show. Now, Gabe Kaplan was pretty funny, and John Travolta obviously got his basic start here, but man, what a silly show now. If you watch it now, And got some comics back here and some other publications. But I'm going to show you the filing cabinet and how cleverly they are display my comics here in just a minute. And I've got these classic novels. Extremely cool. Jules Verne, H.G. Wells. One of the first novels I ever remember reading was War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. I like this Tweety and Sylvester puzzle here. Pretty cool. These mystery boxes may seem silly to some, but I pack a lot in here for $20 and they sell just about as soon as I can put them out. You know, it usually takes a week or less when I put a couple out for them to sell. Again, some more Barbies, got your He-Man and Star Wars, and lots of DVDs. I had to tell people do not climb on shelves because one day somebody came in here and climbed up to the top shelf and broke a bookcase in the process. So yeah, I just got all kinds of movies from Westerns to science fiction. Kramer versus Kramer. That's one of the first movies I remember tearing up to. That and Old Yeller, Brian's Song, and a couple of others. Grandma's Boy. They play Frog Bog for the Intellivision in this game, or this movie, for you gamers out there. Go see, check it out. Rent Grandma's Boy. Rent it on, I'm sure you can rent it on one of the streaming services, or maybe it's streaming somewhere. But it is a really funny movie, and it's got great gaming references in it. Mannequin and Mannequin 2. I saw the first Mannequin, and it kind of let me down. I wanted it to be a little more, shall we say, adult, if you know what I mean. Back when I saw it many years ago, Batman, very influential movie on me. I remember being so excited for it to come out in 1989. Got some factory sealed movies here. But yeah, just all kinds of stuff here. Lots of CDs. West Side Story, the musical for people who don't like musicals, as they say. Saving Private Ryan soundtrack. Man, what a powerful movie that was. Formerly known as the Dixie Chicks, now just the Chicks. And I've got Pinocchio trading cards, which frankly aren't selling. Come on, is that Jonathan Taylor Thomas? Come on, guys, come out and buy some Jonathan Taylor Thomas Adventures of Pinocchio cards. Got these NASCAR cards, pretty cool. Team Nabisco. Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, that was a fun show. And now, guys, the video games. I'll show you some video games in the showcase here in a minute. I got some NES titles, including Bayou Billy, Championship Bowling, World Class Track Meet, Casino Kid, and Gotcha. And one Super Nintendo game, just $5. What a bargain. Pro Pinball. Not the greatest pinball sim. Family Feud. Kind of fun. Asteroids. I really like this version of Asteroids. It sort of captures the feel of the original Asteroids, but has, power-ups and nice graphics and things like that. Level progression. Batman Arkham City. These games are so cheap. The Batman games for the PS3 and 360 are great games, but they're so freaking cheap. Flashback Classics. That's an excellent compilation of games there. Love the Atari box art there. That's awesome. And even a couple of ColecoVision games. Shooter, Space Fury, and Ken Houston, Blackjack and Poker. Pretty cool. 3 copies of Halo 4. Dulcel. Halo, there's a 4th copy of Halo 4. Halo is a perennial seller. Have no problem getting rid of those. Namco Museum. This has some updated versions of the older games, plus some original classics like Dig Dug and Galaga, which I still thoroughly enjoy. Got a couple of James Bond titles there. And Turok. Who remembers the Turok comic book, #1? That was a big deal. A lot of comic book stores ordered way too many copies. You can see my games aren't in the best order in the world, but they're in really nice shape and got a lot of great games for a good deal here at LoneStar Antiques. There's another Halo 4. How'd that get in here? And got some Wii stuff down below. Bigger, much bigger selection than any of the GameStop retros, I'll tell you that much. Ooh, I really like this pinball collection. That's a lot of fun. See a big tub of CDs on the floor there. And as you go around the booth, you can see more CDs and some vintage books here, including The Man from U.N.C.L.E. These old hardcovers are really neat. Star Trek. This is actually a re-release that sold for $16, but it's designed just like the older ones. And here's a vintage Land of the Giants. These are so neat. And the Mod Squad. Who remembers that sort of hippie-inspired TV show? Pretty cool. Got some of these old Doctor Who books. These sell real well. Sometimes I take them to conventions. Here's sort of a gaming-related book, at least role-playing game, by Piers Anthony. Or at least set in his universe. And more paperback books. Who remembers Tor Johnson? Man, there's a flashback. Got some old movie-based books here with classic actors, including Charlton Heston, who you guys know if you've watched my video. You know I met him and hung out with him for 2 hours at Walden Books while he signed books when I was working there. Pretty awesome. Miss Pac-Man Funko Pop. 25 bucks, not bad, not bad. And some more trading cards. And more books, more DVDs and Blu-rays. Serenity. How many Firefly fans do we have here? What a great show. Man, remember when the Avengers came out? What an incredible film that was. It's too bad the Marvel quality is not as good in recent years as that first Avengers movie and those first few films. Who remembers Mr. Bill? Oh no! Pretty cool stuff. Austin Powers, one of my favorite movie series of all time. Just freaking hilarious. I never get sick of Austin Powers. Absolutely love it. Who's up for some romantic comedies? Not me right now. Maybe not ever. No, I'm not opposed to rom-coms if they're good. Curb Your Enthusiasm, one of the greatest sitcoms of all time. A factory sealed copy here. Barbara Mandrell. There's a flashback for you country music fans. I don't know why this didn't sell. I've marked it down to $9.95. Both Conan movies on a nice little collector's edition here. Yeah, it's a DVD, but I sell a lot of DVDs at the antique mall. And I've had that one for years, and I've set it out front, plain sight of everyone, and it just doesn't sell. Regardless, how many of you guys have seen Across the Universe? Here's a sealed copy. Fantastic movie that should be a perennial midnight movie favorite, but it's sort of faded away. You don't hear about it much, but it's got great Beatles cover music, a quirky, fun story. 100 packs of Johnny Quest cards for just $19.99. More paperback books. Lots of graphic novels here, plus a couple of old movie story books. The Bride and Star Trek 3. Excellent film. And a sad movie, if you've seen it. Indiana Jones trading cards, a whole sealed. Now, this Bride of Frankenstein, I bought that as an extra to put in my booth because I already have the figure. Would not part with that if I only had the one. And as we continue on, we got more toys and Blu-rays, more books and graphic novels here, and a bunch of records. I love vinyl, not necessarily to play because I don't have a record player anymore, but I love collecting it. Just the album cover art is so cool. John Sebastian, who remembers him? He played at Woodstock. Pretty cool. Scandal, there's a flashback from the 80s. Interesting stuff here. The Grassroots, awesome hippie music. Metropolis, great film. There's a Bon Jovi promo copy for just 10 bucks. How can you go wrong? Then along with some books down here, I have some Blu-rays. And I get these when I can. You know, if I can find one for a couple of bucks or less, I'll add it to the old antique booth. Sometimes I'll find these at Comic-Cons or even gaming conventions. Sometimes people are just trying to get rid of them, but they sell pretty steadily here at the antique booth. Quantum Leap, who remembers that show? That was a lot of fun. Really well-made show. Pete's Dragon, that's cool. Excellent mix of live action and animation. More graphic novels, more comics. Oh, look, some stuff sold there. That's pretty awesome. Love this old Superman book. I don't have the cassette with it. And a vintage copy of Jimmy Olsen was so popular, he had his own comic book back in the Silver Age. And some more action figures. Over here we've got more albums, got some concert posters and programs. 2001: A Space Odyssey is acknowledged as a classic. 2010, much more mixed reviews for that movie. American Pie, an all-time classic by Don McLean, about the day the music died. All right, we are finally getting to the showcase here. Got some Beanie Babies packs there, some Elvis glasses. I'll still remember when Elvis died, 1977. I just did a video on 1977 and talked about that, and I hope you guys check that out. I like these vintage Disney lamps here. They do work. I checked them, tested them before I put them in there. Got some steel books. How many of you guys collect movies in steelbook form? Collectible format. They're easy to kind of ding up if you don't take care of them, but these are in pretty nice shape, and I like the covers. Really nice. And this Wonder Woman DVD I found the other day is neat. It comes with this booklet. Love that. I'm a big time collector of physical media when it comes to video games and movies. I used to collect records, but you guys know I did a video on that of selling my record collection. Now, Beanie Babies, they're pretty much not worth money these days, you know, nothing collectible value, but just for fun, you can pick them up for, you know, $6 or $7 each, which I've got them here in my booth for. And if you buy them in bulk, sometimes you can find them for as low as 50 cents or 99 cents each. Got some Pokemon cards here. Finally got some of those in. First time, just recently added those. And again, it's Christmas time. Beanie Baby cards. I just got these the other day, these vintage RoboCop and Rocketeer trading cards. Non-sports cards have really gone up in price in recent years. The vintage stuff from the 60s, 70s, and 80s has really skyrocketed in price just recently. And in the case, I've got all kinds of cool stuff. Vintage Frankenstein model kit there. And I love this Batman clock. I did test it. It's just 30 bucks. Works great. Got some Elvis records, some Japanese toys, trading card sets, and these old Beetle cards are really neat. I love those old Universal Monsters books. There's a set of, I believe, 6 by Carl Dreadstone, very hard to find. And yeah, that mummy goes for 60 bucks because it's in excellent condition. Check out these Pokemon figures, 100 bucks for the pair and the blister card. And more Japanese toys down here. And that Superman set, little book set in the corner there is neat. Let's open the case so you guys can see these. First appearance of Poison Ivy. I found this factory sealed copy of the Poltergeist soundtrack the other day at Half Price Books for 5 bucks. It's worth about 50 bucks. Pretty cool. First appearance of Poison Ivy. Batman number 181. Pretty awesome. Someone gave me a collection of comics that this guy was just going to get rid of, and it's pretty well worn, but this was with it, just in a pile of really well worn comics. This gem was included. Pretty awesome. And you can see I've got some Dreamcast games here. Check out the titles there, including Wacky Races. Who grew up watching that show? Fantastic, just a lot of fun. And did you know there were, gosh, only about 17 episodes? There were 2-parters, but you know, with 2 separate episodes within each of the 17 episodes. But as a kid, it felt like there were a lot more. Love me some Crazy Taxi. Got some movie press kits here. including Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes. I enjoyed it the first time I saw it, but man, I could acknowledge it wasn't a great film. And just in case you didn't see these Dreamcasts, let's get a little closer look at them. Hydro Thunder, that one's a lot of fun. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, still some people's favorite in that series. 101 Dalmatians, or 102 Dalmatians. Pin Pan Trisalon, is that a hidden gem? Let me know in the comments. Chicken Run, never played the game, but the movie is very funny. Love this game. Miss Pac-Man Maze Madness, that's a fun one. I love these vintage VHS videos and the oversized boxes. Just incredibly cool for display and collecting. John Carradine, there's a legend. And as I mentioned, or at least inferred earlier, I do sell a lot of cars out of my antique booth. Check it out. Vintage Spock ears. Here's another item I've had for a long time that just nobody seems to want to buy, but just wait. Some guy will be really, or a gal, will be really excited to see a vintage pair of Spock ears for just 30 bucks. This display rack was a great find. I found it at a thrift store for, I don't remember, maybe $5 or $8, but man, it has paid back in dividends because it is a perfect display for these DVDs. You can display a ton of them in a real small space. You can easily see the titles. Next to that, I've got this filing cabinet, which I told you guys about. Now this is ingenious. I got this idea from a comic book store, Collected Comics. You open each drawer and you've got some shortened short boxes. Yes, they don't quite fit short boxes. You have to cut them down, as you can see that I did, and make even shorter boxes. But you can display hundreds and hundreds of comic books in a very small space, plus have room on top for display. Pretty cool. Got all kinds of stuff in here, ranging from various eras. My favorite, The Flash. You guys know I love me some Flash. Hulk, I had a ton of Hulk comic books, but those have sold out. Need to restock. Hopefully I can find some more. But a pretty cool display method. Let me know in the comments if you've seen comics displayed like this at your local comic shop. Who remembers Robotech? New Mutants, what's that doing in Robin? Yeah, people tend to just get comics out and not put them back where they go, unfortunately. But you know, that's the price of doing business. Yeah, there's no telling how many comics in here. No, I'm not going to count. Could be a couple of thousand. I have no idea. Anyway, I love that display method. Now, guys, as promised, let's check out some other booths in the antique mall that actually have video games. Some more games for sale. Let's go check them out. Running near the center of the antique mall are these tall showcases. There's a copy of Space Invaders boxed, the early blue box, for $30. What do you think about that price, guys? It appears to have some wear. And Halo Master Chief wall light. And just to remind you guys that we are in Texas. Down below this sign, there are a few video games there. And as we approach this booth, 1113, you can see they have a lot of pop culture stuff, including some video games down here. Appear to be some pretty common titles, but hey, if you're just looking for some cheap Xbox 360 games, Xbox games, PS3, maybe they have what you're looking for. Well, there you go, guys. Thank you so much for walking with me through a tour of my antique mall booth at LoneStar Antiques in Haltom City, Texas, a suburb of Fort Worth, booth 1320. I will leave the contact information for LoneStar Antiques in the description of this video. And you can also like LoneStar Antiques on Facebook, and you can like the Time Machine comics on Facebook as well. That's my Facebook page for this antique booth. There you go, guys. Let me know in the comments if you've ever owned and or managed a booth in an antique mall. Did you try to sell video games out of your booth? what sold for you well. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thank you guys for watching, liking, and subscribing. We'll talk to you in another video.